These were the words of Imam Hussein. After sacrificing each and everything he had in the line of duty, in the line of peace, in the line of Islam, and to prosper peace in the region. But today, you might ask, who is Hussein? And who are we? What are we doing here? So I would just say two promises. Two promises were made. One, that Imam Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, made to his grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if it comes a day, he will sacrifice each and everything that he has to protect peace, to protect Islam. That was the promise that he made when he was youngster. And then he fulfilled it on the day of Karbala. But what's the second promise, you ask? The second promise is the oath that we all took. And it's the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He himself made this prophecy to the mother of Imam Hussein, saying, when the time will come, God will create a nation who would shed tears and who will remember your Hussein and who will remember this great sacrifice. So that is us, the nation of Husseini, the Husseini nation. And that's why we made the oath. What was the oath, you ask? What was the oath, you ask? Abadu wallah yazbara maninsa Husseina. So I want you all to repeat it with me, which translate to, by Allah, we won't ever forget Hussein, and we won't ever forget the sacrifices he made in the line of Islam, in the name of peace, and in the name of humanity. His message was not just for one nation or one type of people. His nation, his peace, and his message is for all humanity. So I'll ask you all again to come back and remember this oath that we took. Abad wallah ya maninsa, abad wallah ya Zahra maninsa Husseina, abad wallah ya Zahra maninsa Husseina, abad wallah ya Zahra maninsa Husseina. Now, coming to today. What is today? And why is today important? Today, marked in history, is Ashura. Ashura means 10th day of Muharram. This is the day when Imam Hussein in Karbala fulfilled his promise that he made as a youngster to his grandfather, to sacrifice each and everything for humanity, for all of us. So how did he do it? He gathered only 72 of his companions and his family, his brothers, his sisters, his friends, his nephew and nieces. He gathered them all and he stood against the unjust, unworthy ruler, Yazid ibn Muawiyah. He said that I won't accept this unhumane behavior and I won't accept all these unjust behavior of Yazid. And he stood against him. And that's the message of today, that no matter what, if you are standing against unjust rulers or if you're standing for peace, it doesn't matter who is in front of you. You should always stand against them and always remember what's truthful. So what he did, he lost his brother Abbas. That was a brother like a shadow to him. And when Abbas came to ask for permission, he got no permission. And who was Abbas? I'll remind you this. Abbas, the earlier days, he drove a line in the sand. And no one ever dared to cross that line. That's the bravery of Abbas. But Imam Hussein stopped him, saying, no, we're not here for war. We want to embrace peace. And I want to guide them to the right path. I want them to the path of Islam, to the peace, prosperity. That's what he tried to do. And that's why Abbas could not fight. But then what Abbas did? Abbas brought Sakina to Imam Hussein, the youngest and the most beloved daughter of Imam Hussein. He brought him and asked for permission that Aka, Mawla, my master, if you don't want me to fight, at least give me a chance to fetch some water for these children. These children, these youngsters haven't had water for 3 days. Imagine living out without water for 1 day. Imagine living out without water for 1 hour, 2 hours. How we get, and these are young children that are grandsons and granddaughters of prophets, that coming from the line of prophet. These haven't had water for 3 days. Why? Because of that uncruel and unjust ruler who wanted to gain the power. And this was never about power for Imam. If Imam wanted power, he would have just let Abbas fight today. He never let him fight. All he said, okay, you can go, but make sure you won't fight. And Abbas went out to get water from Furat. For one instance, he had water in his palm, but he never took a sip. I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe it would come to his mind that how can I drink water when Sakina is thirsty for 3 days? When all the children in the tents are thirsty for 3 days. And then he splashed the water back in the river. He filled up the jar and he tried coming back to the tent. That's when all these enemies started pointing all the arrows and shooting all this, whatever they had towards him. His only intention was to get that water back to the tents for the children. That was his only intention. He never had a sword. He never drew his sword. He stayed loyal and true. And this is the message of today. Stay loyal and true and stand up against peace, come what may. This is the message of today. And we lost Abbas. Imam Hussein lost Abbas. After Abbas, Ali Akbar. Imam Hussein's son, who was only 18 years old, asked for permission. I can imagine most of you have teenagers, children, and you have feelings for them, you have hopes for them. Imam had 2. Bibi Zainab had 2. Bibi Zainab had high hopes for Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar, who just looked like the Payambar himself. They used to call him Shabiya Payambar. Imam sacrificed Shabiya Payambar for this message. Imam sacrificed Ali Asghar for this message. Imam sacrificed each and every children and all those friends that he had for this message. And then he could just say, he could just go and fight when he wanted to. No. When he was in front of the troops of Yazid, he made sure that they know him. So he declared, I'm the grandson of Muhammad. I'm the son of Ali and Fatima. Remember who I am and know who I am before you wage a war against me. Imam could have just made a war with him, but no, he declared what he is and who he is and what his intentions are. And then he sacrificed himself in the line of peace. And that's why we always remember this day as the day of Ashura, the day where Imam Hussein sacrificed all he had for peace, for humanity. So I ask you again to remember the oath. Abadu Allah, Ya Zahra, ma ninsa Husayna. And when Imam Hussein asked us, Hal min Nasir yansurna? Is there anyone who can come to help me? And this is why we all here to respond to that message, and I landed on it. هل من ناصر ينصرنا؟ لبيك يا حسين، لبيك يا حسين، لبيك يا حسين، لبيك يا حسين، لبيك يا حسين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد، اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مخلف القلوب يا صافي قلوبنا. اللهم إنا نسألك زيادة في الخير وطولا في العمر وبركة في الرزق ونورا في القبر وصحة في الجسم وتوبة قبل الموت ورحمة عند الموت ونجاة من النار ودخولا في الجنة وعافية في الدين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ملके दुआए इमाम ज़माना और दुआए इमाम ज़माना की शक्ल में हज़रत इमाम हुसैन और उनकी औलाद और फातिमा को पहुँचा देते हैं।